14 episodes ago, we started with one question. What actually is a container? Since then, you've installed Docker, built and tagged your own images, persisted data through volumes, connected containers over real networks, composed multi-container apps, and spent the last 7 episodes standing up a full Kubernetes deployment, pods, deployments, services, config, storage, ingress, and Helm. This last episode is about the gap between it's deployed and it's production ready, because they are not the same thing, and this is where that gap closes. First gap, Kubernetes doesn't actually know if your application is healthy, only whether the process is still running. A probe closes that gap. A liveness probe is a check Kubernetes runs repeatedly against your container, an HTTP request, typically, and if it keeps failing, Kubernetes concludes the container is stuck and restarts it without you paging anyone. A readiness probe asks a narrower question. Is this pod ready to receive traffic right now? Fail it, and the service from episode 11 simply stops routing requests to that pod without killing it. Perfect for a pod that's still warming up a cache or finishing a slow startup task. Second gap, without limits, one misbehaving pod can consume an entire node's memory and starve every other pod scheduled there. Resource requests and limits. Set per container, close it. A request is what the scheduler from episode 8 uses to decide which node has room for this pod in the first place. A limit is a hard ceiling. Exceed the memory limit, and Kubernetes terminates and restarts that container, containing the damage to one pod instead of one node. Third gap, episode 10's kubectl scale set a fixed number by hand. A horizontal pod autoscaler removes the hand. Point it at a deployment with a target 70% CPU, say, and a range 2 to 10 replicas, and it watches real load continuously, scaling out automatically when traffic climbs and back down the moment it eases. The same self-healing philosophy from episode 10, extended to handle demand no one predicted in advance. Fourth gap, episode 10's rolling update ships whatever image tag you type by hand. Wire that into a CI/CD pipeline, and the moment you push code, it automatically builds a new image, pushes it to a registry, and updates the deployment's image tag, turning shipping a change into a push, not a manual kubectl apply someone has to remember to run at 5 p.m. on a Friday. Put together, that's what production-ready actually means. Probes that catch failure before a person has to, limits that contain damage automatically, autoscaling that absorbs load nobody predicted, and a pipeline that ships changes without anyone typing a deploy command by hand. That's the series. You went from what's a container to a fully orchestrated, self-healing, autoscaling, automatically deployed Kubernetes application. 15 episodes, 0 to production, exactly as promised back in episode 1. Thank you for following along this far. If something in this series unblocked you, the best way to help the next person find it is a comment telling us where you got stuck and what clicked. And if you want more like this, subscribe, because there's more coming. See you in the next one.